OK, is it right to use what's known as an electric shock collar to train your dog? Both the Welsh Assembly and Scottish governments are now considering whether such devices should be banned. They work by allowing owners to startle their pet with a very small electric shock if they behave badly or dangerously. Critics claim they are cruel and painful and can sometimes lead to dogs becoming more aggressive in self-defence. But the manufacturers, and indeed many of the 350,000 British owners of such training aids, insist that without them the lives of countless dogs could have been lost. We speak first to Colette Hume, BBC correspondent in Cardiff. So the Welsh Assembly might take action here.
Yes, that's right, Jeremy. And what they're doing at the moment is they're having a consultation period. So they're asking everyone from vets to dog owners to professionals working with animals for their views before they make a decision. Now, lots of strong views on all sides on this issue. We have veterinary organisations, large and small, saying that they oppose these collars. And then you also have some dog trainers, including one from Swansea that I met last week, who said, look, we think they are a legitimate tool for professional dog trainers to use. And his point was this, that he thinks they should only be used by professional dog trainers. We saw him in action with a dog called Lady, who chases sheep and is being trained as a personal protection dog and is going to be used by a family living in the country. And he demonstrated that by giving the dog an electric shock as she ran towards the sheep, it did two things. A, it made her run away from the sheep, and it also, he says, imprinted in her mind the idea that sheep and pain were interlinked. Now, obviously, many animal rights campaigners say, look, we don't care whether or not it works, it shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah, but if it's a sheepdog, why is it being trained to be frightened of sheep?
No, it's a protection dog that is going to be going to a family in the country, and because they live in the country, there are a lot of sheep. Now, any farmer here in Wales will tell you if they see a dog chasing sheep, they're going to do one thing, they're going to shoot it, and there is absolutely no argument about it, and the law is on their side. Now, Jeremy, I actually saw this collar in action, and actually I was shocked myself. I didn't have it around my neck, I held it in my hand. It has two pins or prongs, and a shock was delivered. And to be very, very honest with you, it was deeply unpleasant. And I'm a good 10.5 stone of female. And what that would be like for, say, a 4 or 5 stone dog, I'm not quite sure. But certainly I found it a very unpleasant experience. And certainly if I was doing something that I shouldn't and I was shocked after receiving that nasty experience, I wouldn't do it again. But as I say, professionals say it should be a case that they're allowed to use these collars and that the public are not. But certainly many campaigners say they shouldn't be on sale at all.
And is the Rural Affairs Minister, Elin Jones, who's concerned about it, is he saying have them for professionals only, or does he want a total ban?
No, she wants a complete ban, and she wants to use animal welfare powers, which are completely new to the Welsh Assembly. Now, she says there are strong views for and against the use of electronic training aids, but certainly the Welsh Assembly government is minded to enforce a ban. But what they want to do is really give everyone a chance to have their say before any kind of Welsh legislation is introduced.
Well done on testing it, Colette, which goes above and beyond the call of duty. Thank you very much indeed. They should use them on reporters. We will speak to Caroline Kisko, Secretary of the Kennel Club, and Duncan McNair of the Electronic Collar Manufacturers Association. Duncan first, if it delivered a painful shock to Colette, it must be painful to the dog as well.
Well, what I would say is that anyone who has suffered the loss of a much-loved pet would look seriously at the balance of risks and benefits. And what we find that people say is that yes, the animal was it felt uncomfortable maybe 2 or 3 times, but after that they don't go outside their boundary, or they respond to the remote trainer and they are safe. They don't go on the road, they don't chase sheep.
Yeah, we're going to hear from a dog trainer shortly, but Duncan, the really good way to train dogs surely is with eye-to-eye contact and all of that old-fashioned stuff, not by zapping them.
Well, even dog trainers who say that that you can use positive means admit that there are certain dogs that you simply cannot train that way. And we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. We have about between 500 to 700 letters from owners who feel that their pet would not be alive if they had not used the collar.
Tom Leonard, veterinary surgeon, do you buy that? Oh, we've got Caroline Kisko on the line. Sorry. Caroline, do you buy that?
No, I'm afraid I don't. I mean, there are two aspects to this which Duncan's brought up. One is actually where he's talked about boundaries, which is actually a completely different system whereby a dog is actually kept within an invisible fence with a collar, which in effect it activates itself. Those are not something that we're talking about banning or that we want to see banned. What we're talking about, so really that's a red herring, what we're talking about is people doing things like your reporter was saying, using it to shock a dog to keep away from sheep. There's a very simple answer. You put it on the lead and you keep it there. That way your dog is always safe and it can't be shot because it is safely on the lead and it's under your direct control.
Duncan?
Well, I'm sure that most dogs would disagree with Caroline because it's much more fun to be safely running around investigating things and not getting into trouble, which is the result of training a dog with a remote trainer, which is what she's talking about.
Caroline?
Well, I mean, it's each to his own, isn't it? I mean, I think that the price that a dog has to pay in order to be allowed to go loose around sheep is far too high. And to be honest, even if it's been shocked, it doesn't protect it against the farmer who decides that there is a dog amongst its sheep or near its sheep and could still go ahead and shoot it. If the dog is at your side on the lead, there's no way a farmer is going to think that your dog is loose.
Caroline, is it your concern that a dog that gets an electric shock is having cruelty inflicted on him?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that any of us would think that it was the right thing to do, to give a shock to any animal just to make it behave the way we want it to, when there are plenty of positive training methods that get a dog to respond much more effectively and without destroying the relationship between the human being and the dog.
Duncan, does it make it easier to train dogs?
Well, the first thing is that it's nonsense to say that it destroys the relationship, because the reports that we have from pet owners who use them emphasize that the relationship between them and the pet has improved enormously. They were either going to have the dog put down, or they were going to have to return it to a shelter or pass it on to someone else. What happens is that they are able to improve the relationship that they have with their pet. It becomes an acceptable and happy member of the family. Often dogs will say, when you go to put the collar on, they will come up and ask to have it put on so that they can go out for a walk or go out in the garden.
Thank you. That's Duncan McNair of the Electronic Dog Collar Manufacturers Association. Yes, there is such a thing. And Caroline Kisko, secretary of the Kennel Club. And before that, the brilliant Colette Hume, who tried on the collar. And that's the sound it makes.